Hi, so this is my new XR Interaction Toolkit video, and my last one's been a while, almost 2 years now, and Unity updated a bunch of stuff, so I was thinking I should do a new one. So this time I tried to make your life easier and I created a repository of this project. So if you head over to my Patreon page, and don't worry, it's going to be completely free, you can see this link for the GitHub repository. So all you need to do is fork it, and here you can give it whatever name you want. But the most important thing is untick this copy the main branch only, because we are going to use all the branches. So just press create fork, and now you fork the repository, and head to GitHub desktop, file, clone repository, and now it should show up in your repository list, and press clone. After you downloaded it, we have this pop-up window, and it's really important to select the second option. So we are just going to use our own for our own purposes, and press continue. And now in the branches, you will see all the branches for each episode. And I set up the branches for every episode. So if you're starting with the first episode, just get the project set up, and then hand animation, etc., etc. And all the assets going to be there, what's needed. So yeah, let's jump in. Okay, to get started, the VR development in Unity, first you will need Unity, surprise, a VR headset. Sorry, you won't be able to get away with that. A link cable, or just any C cable, and the Metal Link desktop software. All of them is going to be linked in the description. Okay, now just open Unity Hub. We are going to create a new project. I'm going to use the latest LTS version, which is the Unity 6 0.45. I'm going to use Universal Render Pipeline. And for the project name, I'm just going to make a VR tutorial project. Make sure you don't make any spaces in it, because later on when we set up the repository, it will cause some issues. Right now, I don't need to connect to Unity Cloud and create a project. Okay, once Unity loaded, we just need to clean up the project first. So I just get rid of this URP template message. I'm going to delete the input system actions, because we are going to use a different one. And now we have to install some packages. So go to Window, Package Manager, Unity Registry, go all the way down, and we are going to install the XR plugin management, and we are going to install the XR Interaction Toolkit. Okay, at the XR Interaction Toolkit, if we go to samples, we need to import the starter assets. Okay, for me, this window popped up, but if you can't find it, just go to Edit, Project Settings, and XR Plugin Management. But right now we got some issues, but first we need to add the OpenXR at the XR Plugin Management. You individually need to install it for each platform you want to. For example, Oculus Quest, you need the Android, and you need to install the OpenXR as well. Okay, then just go to Project Validation, just click the Fix All, and then the other one, click the Fix All. But we still need to add at the OpenXR tab a interaction profile. So in this case, I'm going to use the Oculus Quest. So I'm just going to add the Oculus Touch controllers and basically anything that's Oculus or Meta related. And maybe if we want to develop for Vive Index or HTC Vive, we can add these profiles. For rendering modes, just make sure you got the single pass instance. And at the Android one, again, just single pass instance or multi-view. If we go back to the project validation, you can see all of the issues are gone. And at the OpenXR, we also need to add these interaction profiles to the Android one as well. So not just here, also here. So again, MetaQuest and Oculus. Okay, and we can close it now. Okay, one more thing. If you are developing for MetaQuest 2, 3, or 3S, you need to go to the Meta Link settings, general, and make sure this OpenXR runtime is set as default. Otherwise, when you start the gaming editor, it won't run in VR. You're just going to see the editor. Okay, basically that's all the packages we need. Now, if you go to the hierarchy, right click, and there's going to be an XR, and we can add an XR origin. First of all, it's going to be a completely blank one. So just the main camera, camera offset, and the XR origin, and the XR interaction manager. Okay, before we continue, if you go to the samples folder, the XR Interaction Toolkit, 3.0 starter asset, and there's going to be a prefabs. So there's an XR origin. So this one is completely set up with left controller, right controller, near fire interactor, poke interactor, teleport, everything. And the thing is, we could use it, but we don't know at this point how these controllers are built up. So I think it's a better approach to go through how to build up these things one by one, especially for Locomotion and the different interactors. So I'm not going to use this rig. You can, it's going to speed up the development, but you need to do how to use these interactors, Locomotions stuff. So I'm going to go through all of them. So yeah, that's it. So XR origin. Right now you can see there's a main camera, so we can delete the main camera, the original main camera from the scene. We won't need it anymore. XR origin. First, you need to set the tracking origin mode. I usually set it to floor. So it will track the floor and your head, how far from the floor. And then the input action manager, there's the action asset. Right now, the default one is selected, what we imported. And we can use this one. It's pretty good. I always use this one and modify if it's needed. And you don't need to set up the head position, rotation, tracking for the left and right, the different interactions and the different locomotions. It's already set up, but we are going to modify some stuff in it. So I'm going to show it to you. Okay, and basically it's all set up. So I'm just going to make a quick plane. Yeah, set it to the origin. It's already at the origin. And now if we press play and get into VR, obviously you need to connect to MetaQuest link or Air link. So press play. And yeah, I can look around. If you check it out, we still don't have hands because we need to add those objects to it. So that's what we're gonna do next. Okay, so we are just gonna make two empty objects. Just go to the camera offset, right click, create empty. This is gonna be the left-hand controller. And I'm gonna duplicate it and rename it to right-hand controller. Okay, so we just need to select both of them. We need to add the controller input action manager. And we need to add the tracked pose driver input system. Now select the left-hand controllers. We need to add these, but there are presets made for it. So just click this button here. And if you go, this is going to be the left hand. So we are selecting the XRI default left-hand controller input action manager preset. And on the right-hand controller, we are going to select the right controller input action manager preset. Okay, on the track pose driver, we need to change this from action to reference on all three of them. And we are going to select, this is the left hand. So I'm just going to select the left. And this is the position we need. So the XRI left position, the rotation, it's going to be the XRI left rotation. And for the tracking state, we are going to select the XRI left tracking state. And we are going to do the same for the right hand. The search for right, so position, rotation, and input action tracking state. Okay, at this point, all we need to do is add an object like a sphere. I'm just going to scale it down to 0.01, maybe. We'll see. Duplicate it, add it to the right controller. And yeah, just hop into VR and we'll see if it's working or not. Yeah, well, it's really small, but there. So I'm just going to increase the size. So 0.1 on each sphere. And press start. So yeah, it's working. You can look around. You can't walk around yet, but you got the controllers and the head rotation and stuff. In this video, we are going to replace these spheres with actual hands, and we are going to animate them. But before that, we need to import the package I set up for the whole project. So I'm going to give you a link for this props asset. So just drag it into the inspector, and I already imported it, so I'm just going to cancel it, but it's just going to have this whole package. And before we get into that scene, the prefabs, I'm just going to make a folder for VR rig, and using this XR origin, just drag and drop, so we will have a prefab. Okay, so then go to scenes and go to props, and I don't want to save it. And from now on, we are going to use this scene. Just one quick fix: if you don't see these texts here, it's probably because TextMesh Pro is not set up properly. So just make sure you import TMP Essentials. And yeah, once it's installed, you are gonna see these texts. Okay, so this is the scene, and all we need to do is just grab our current XR again, add it to the scene. And one more thing, in the other scene, what we set up, we also had that XR interaction manager. So without this, it won't work. So next to the XR rig, we better just make a prefab of that too. And we are gonna drag and drop it in the props. So back to prefabs, VR rig, and XR interaction manager. Yep. And now this should work. Okay, so let's add the hand. So the XR origin, just select the left hand and right hand controller, select the spheres, and we are going to delete them. In the prefabs folder, there's a VR hands folder, and there's a prefab for the left hand and right hand. I already set this up. So just drag the left hand to the left hand and the right hand to the right hand prefab. And select both of them and add a animator. All right, so then go to the animation folder, hand animation, and here we are just going to create a animator controller. I'm just going to call it left hand controller, and to select the left hand prefab and just drag and drop to the controller field. Then double click it, and here's the animator. In this case, we are going to need two parameters, one for the grip value and one for the pinch value. So I'm just going to create two floats because we will need the value. So this is going to be the grip. And this one's going to be the pinch. Just make sure you are write it correctly because we are going to reference it as a string. So if it doesn't match up, it won't work. And here we are just going to need to add a blend tree. So just right click, create state, and a new blend tree. Double click it, and then select this node. And in this corner, from the blend type, select the 2D freeform Cartesian. And there are the parameters. So the first one is going to be the grip. The second one is going to be the pinch. And once we start adding these motion fields, it's going to give you a graph. So once we reach 4, so based on this, this is the X value, so the grip value, and this is the Y value. And between these two values, it's going to blend those animations. So for the positions, we are going to need at the first one 0, 0, then 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. One in each corner. And for the animations, because this is the left hand. Here you can see the left hand animations. So the idle when it doesn't do anything. So that's going to be the 0, 0. For this one, the position X is 0, the position Y is 1. So this is going to be the pinch when we are only pinching. So I'm going to grab the pinch animation here. Here it's going to be the grip. So that's going to be the grip value 1 and the pinch value 0. And when both the pinch and grip button is pressed, in my case, it's going to be the grip value. So we are just going to grip, but you can set it pinch or whatever. And yeah, that's basically it for the blend tree. Right now, all we need to do is tell this component what is the value that we are currently have. We are going to need to make a script for that. So I'm just going to create a script folder. And here I'm going to make a mono behavior script called hand animation. We will need the update function, so I'm just going to leave that. So we will need input action references. So go serialize field private, and it's called input action reference. And first one's going to be the grip action reference, and one for the trigger action reference or pinch. And we need the animator. And we are just going to need to get the component on the object. So basically that. Okay, and in the update function, we will need the value for both the grip and the trigger value. So we are going to get them. Yeah, read value, trigger value, and we are going to set that. But instead of trigger, we will need the pinch string. So just going to rewrite it. Although instead of storing them here, we could also store it here. And I'm just going to reuse them here and the trigger action name. Actually, the copilot was right before, so we could early exit this. And that's basically the whole script. And I just select the left-hand prefab, drag this component to it, and in the input action references, so for the grip in the controller, this is going to be this one, this button. So it's called, in the references, we're going to need the left hand in this case, so left. And in the interaction, it's going to be the select. Instead of the select, because the select is returning just the button is clicked or not, so 0 or 1, we need the value. So it's going to tell if it's pushed just like that, it's going to give like 0.3. If it's fully pushed, it's going to be 1, and anywhere between, you get the idea. So the select value, and for this one, it's going to be the activate value. And yeah, that's it. If we start the game, it should work as intended. All right, so this is my left hand, and if I grip, it does work. If I pinch, it does work. And anywhere between, it just works. And if I push both of them, it just grips. Okay, I don't want you to waste any time. So in the animation folder, hand animation and animation controller, I already set this up. So for the left hand prefab, just drag the left hand anim controller, and for the right hand prefab, just the right hand animation controller. And don't forget to add the hand animation to this one and add the input references. So right controller, interaction, this is going to be the grip action. So we need the select value, and the trigger action, we will need the activate value. And basically that's it. We can delete this animator controller that we just did before. Now if we start the game, both of the hands should work. And yeah, almost working. The pinch doesn't work. So the reason it doesn't work, because in this one I set it up as trigger, not pinch. So all we need to do is go into the script, hand animation, and instead of pinch, it's going to be trigger. Okay, so if I press play now, and yeah, the grip is working, the pinch is working. So yeah, work as intended. In this video, we are going to set up the Locomotion system. In this one, we are going to focus on continuous movement and snap third provider and how to set it up. So this is where we left off last time. So at the XR origin, I'm just going to apply these changes. Okay, for the Locomotion at the XR origin, I'm going to create an empty game object. I'm going to call it Locomotion. And to this one, we need to add the Locomotion mediator. which automatically gonna add this XR body transformer. And right now at the XR origin, we don't have a character controller. So at the Locomotion, we are gonna add the character controller. Now, if you turn on the gizmos and select the XR origin, you can see it's, well, not really well set up. So for the radius, I'm usually gonna go to 0.2. And for the center, I'm just gonna add 1 because right now it's set to 2 meter height. Well, I think I better like it to my own height too. So 1.7. And for this one, 1.7 divided by 2. Okay, so moving on, under the Locomotion, I'm gonna create 2 more empty game objects, gonna call it move, and duplicate it, and I'm gonna call it turn. To the move, I'm gonna add the dynamic move provider, and for turn, I'm gonna add the snap turn provider. This hasn't changed since the previous one. Snap turn provider. So I'm just gonna select the move and add a preset to it, which is already set up in the sample assets. So add this move preset, so it's automatically added the left hand move input and the right hand move input. And do the same for the snap turn provider. Okay, at the move, you basically can set the move speed, whatever you want. Okay, so at the move, I'm just gonna drag this Locomotion to the mediator and do the same at the turn. And I'm gonna do the same at the snap turn provider. Okay, and if we press play, it should kind of work. Okay, so with my right hand, I can turn around. And with my left hand, I can fall out of space. Okay, one thing I forgot is just adding to the floor tiles, maybe a box collider. Yeah, it's more performant and it still works. Okay, so start again. And if I move, yeah, I can move around. And turn around. So yeah. Okay, but it begs the question. In the move provider, you both assign the left hand and right hand move input. And if you leave out one of them, it's going to run to an error. So how do we know which hand we need to use? Well, it's not the best solution from Unity, but this is what we have now, is this Locomotion settings on each hand controllers. So if you check out the left hand controller, it has the smooth motion enabled. So we are moving with our left hand controller joystick. And on the right hand controller, the smooth motion enabled is false. The thing is, if I uncheck it and check it on the other one, we are going to move with the right hand and it's automatically setting it up to turn with the left hand. So right now I just set the left hand controller to not use the smooth motion enabled, and on the right hand controller I set it. So I press play now. And right now this is my right hand. I just move the joystick and we are moving around. And with the left hand controller, I just move the stick and we can turn around. So it's flipped. Okay, one more thing about the movement. If I look that way and start moving, like just forward, it's going to follow the rotation of the VR headset. But if that's something you don't want and you just want to follow the controller sticks, you can set that up at Locomotion move. And instead of setting this to head relative, you can set it to hand relative. As you save it, I mean, you can change it on both hands, but it's in this case, it's just going to use the left hand movement direction. So if you press play, and I'm just going to look that way and press the left hand stick forward, I'm just going to move forward. I think this one's quite distracting. I don't like using this, but if somebody prefers that, it's up to you. So I'm just going to switch back to head relative. Okay, in this episode, we are going to set up the teleportation. At the camera offset, I'm going to put this one on the right hand. So within the right hand controller, I'm going to use the XR Interaction Toolkit's own sample teleport provider. And they already have a sample prefab. So I'm going to use that. And it's called Teleport Interactor. So I'm just going to drag it to the right hand controller. And on this one, actually, we don't have any presets. So unfortunately, we just have to set it up ourselves. So first of all, the interaction layer mask, make sure it's on teleport. Handedness, in this case, I'm gonna set the right hand. For the rotate input, I'm just gonna set the right hand interactions rotate manipulation. And for the directional input, set the right interactor directional manipulation. Okay, we need to add the attach transform and the ray origin transform. Before that, we need to create two separate objects in the hierarchy. So first, I'm just gonna put it on the right hand. So I'm just gonna call it right controller teleport stabilized attach, and I'm just gonna create a child object, which is gonna be the stabilized origin. 0, 0 position. Right now, it doesn't matter. Okay, and I just have to drag this out to the camera offset level, and I'm just gonna move it under the right hand. And if I go back for the teleport interactor, the attach transform is gonna be the stabilized attach, and the ray origin transform is gonna be the stabilized origin. Okay, on the XR interactor, we still need to add the input configuration. So for the select input, it's going to be the locomotion teleport mode on the right hand, actually for both of them. And for the activate input, it's just going to be the activate and the activate value on the right hand. Okay, here there's one more thing we need to set, and that's on the XR interactor line visual, the line origin transform, which is actually going to be the stabilized origin. Okay, on the stabilized attach, we need a component called XR transform stabilizer, and the aim target object is going to be the teleport interactor, and the target, we need to create that. That's going to be the point where the ray is going to come from. And I like that kind of inside the hand, but it's all preference. You can set any transform actually. So I'm just going to create an empty here, and it's going to be array origin. And for that one, I just simply drag and drop it. And I can modify it just slightly that, but it's my own preference. You can set basically anything. The last thing we need to do is select all the floor tiles and add the teleportation area, and at the interaction layer mask, set the teleport. Okay, so that's the interactor setup, and there's two more things that is missing. So the right-hand controller, we got a teleport interactor. So I'm just going to drag and drop it there. And under the locomotion, we need to add another game object. I'm going to call it teleport, and I'm going to add the component called teleportation provider. For the mediator, again, just drag the locomotion and you can press play. Okay, and if you use the joystick up button, you can teleport anywhere you want. Okay, there's one mistake I've made, and that is on the teleport interactor. XR interaction line visual, instead of the teleport stabilized origin, just set the ray origin, what we created on the right hand prefab, and set it that. Because if we have the other one, when you try to rotate with the joystick, it just gives you a strange behavior, and now it should work as intended. Okay, and the other one I want to show you is the teleport anchor. So what is this anchor is for? For example, you want the player to be only able to teleport to the tables at set positions, for example, here, here, and here. So you create 3 of these. And you also can set the rotation. So if you want the player to face like that, it always will face to the Z position every time it teleports to this anchor point. Okay, so how to set that up? So I already made this teleport anchor, but it's completely empty. The only thing is there is a mesh collider for the object itself, an anchor point, and a snap volume, which is just a box collider trigger that will detect our teleportation there. So teleport anchor, interaction layer mask, as always, just teleport. And what is important in this case, make sure you select the local space and check if the visual, the anchor, and the snap volume is facing the same direction. So it's not rotated at all, any of the child object. And one more thing, what we need to add at the snap volume is XR interactable snap volume, and just make sure the snap collider is set to the snap volume. So it's getting the box collider. So the last thing on the teleportation anchor, if you select the teleportation configuration, for the match orientation, you can set up multiple cases. For example, world space up is wherever your character is right now, it's going to face to that direction. If you want to exactly match the Z position on this anchor, then you need to select the target up and forward. So it will rotate the XR origin to this position. Okay, on the teleportation trigger, you can have some variations. What it means is on select entered, if whenever the teleportation reaches this object, it automatically teleports you there. I don't see any use case for that. I usually use is the on select exited. So I aim it to that, and when I release, it will teleport me to this position. So yeah, that should be all. And if we hit play, it should work. Okay, so whenever I try to teleport to this one, you can see the forward rotation is going to be the object Z position. So yeah, I'm actually facing that one. So I'm just going to create two more to demonstrate it. Okay, so let's duplicate it twice. So the first one, I'm just going to put it here, rotate it slightly. The second one, I'm going to put this one here. And the last one is going to come here, but I'm just going to completely rotate it this direction. Let's see if it's going to rotate me to the right position. Okay, so this one, yeah, exactly to that point. We're going to rotate to this one, but I'm trying to face a different position. So yeah, forward. And this one exactly to the table. Right, I'm just going to delete these two because it's going to be in the way. In this video, we are going to set up the interactables. And if you ever had those jittery movements, this video is going to be exactly for you. Other than that, we are going to set up the attached transforms, and I'm going to show you how to do two-handed interactables as well. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is the scene where we left off last time. First, if we are going to our XR rig or XR origin, so first we need to add a component to our hands, which will communicate with the interactables, and this is called XR Direct Interactor, and I need to add it individually to both hands. So if you search XR Direct Interactor, then just add this script to your left and right hand controller. Okay, first we need to create an interaction layer mask. So I'm just going to add the layer and call it grabbable. So go back to your left and right hand controller and add the interaction layer mask. Just untick default and the teleport. So only the grabbable is going to be available. Also on our hands, we are going to need a sphere collider. And it's important this one's need to be a trigger. And for radius, I'm just going to set it to 0.1. Okay, so what changed from the previous XR Interaction Toolkits, in the 3.0, we need to add input configurations to both of our hands. So just select the input configuration, add the direct interactor, and for the select input and activate input, just like before on the teleport, we need to add the select and activate inputs. So this is the left hand controller. I'm just going to search for select, and for the left hand XR left interactor / select. For the second one, I'm just going to use the same. So select. At the activate, I'm going to do the same for the left hand activate, and for the second one, I'm going to select the activate value. Okay, but what's this select and activate inputs? So the select one is the grip button, and the activate input is the trigger on our controller. And in this case, for example, we grab a gun, and with the trigger, we activate it, so we are shooting out a bullet or something. Okay, and if we go to the interactables table, first we see instantaneous, kinematic, and velocity tracking. So start with the instantaneous. I'm gonna add a XR grab interactable component, and this is what we're going to use in all of them. Interaction layer mask should be grabbable. And it's really important. It does give rigid body to the component, but it doesn't give any collider. So without it, it won't work. So in this case, the easiest one is using a mesh collider, but for optimization reasons, it's better to use either a cylinder, for this one example, or box colliders, or any kind of these primitive colliders. But right now, I'm just going to go with mesh and just select the convex. So you're just going to add colliders to every face. Okay, and very important, in theory, it should automatically get the colliders. But if you have some kind of visuals, so this is just an object, and then it has a visuals as a child object, like this, and this holds the mesh collider and all kinds of data, then you manually need to drag it to the colliders. But in this case, I don't have that setup, but actually that's the better setup. So right now I'm just going to drag the mesh collider to the colliders, and there it is. And I'm going to do the same with the other two. So XR grab interactable. Both of them needs to be on the grabbable interaction layer mask. And for both of them, I'm going to add the mesh collider. Again, convex. And individually, just drag it to the colliders. Okay, so I'm just going to set the movement types individually. So this is the instantaneous, the kinematic, and finally the velocity tracking. Okay, and that's it. Right now we can jump into Unity and we can grab these objects. Okay, so as you can see, I can grab it. Also, for the right hand, we haven't set up the select and activate input. So in this case, it won't work if we are trying to grab it. Right hand select, right hand activate, and right hand activate value. Okay, and also it's really important we can set handedness. So this is the right hand, and this one is the left hand. If you want to know as an interactable which hand grabbed you, then you can search for this handedness property, and you can do all kinds of calculation. You want to enable grabbing the object with your right hand, left hand, etc. So you can constrain these stuffs. Right, so our hands are completely set up. So let's see the differences between the instantaneous, kinematic, and velocity tracking. So instantaneous, as you can see, this is going to be really snappy, so it moves really good. The reason is because the position is updated every update, while you will see on the kinematic, it's going to be really jittery, and that's because it's updated on the fixed update. So instantaneous, this one doesn't have any physics, so it can go through the table, and I can move the kinematic, for example, but it will behave really strange because it's not using any physics. If I do the same with the kinematic, which has physics, it behaves as expected. Okay, so the kinematic is still can move through objects that doesn't have any rigid body, but it will be updated on the fixed update, and it does interact with other rigid body objects. The velocity tracking is the most advanced. This one is colliding with other simple colliders. I mean, it does behave strange, but it's just a collision detection. This one is the full physics-based one. And if you move it anyway, you can see this is really jittery. It doesn't come up through videos because that just has 30 FPS, but you can see it in VR. Okay, but how to fix that? So to fix that, we need to select the kinematic and velocity tracking, go to rigid body, and at the interpolation, just select interpolate. So between two positions, it's just going to smooth it. So if we go back to VR and we try to move it the same way, it will feel much better. Not perfect, but much better. Okay, one more thing is that these objects, when you're holding them close, it's just interacting with your XR origin and it will throw off your character. The solution for that is that you take your XR origin to another layer, for example, player. So yeah, for the layer, you just need to set it to player and don't apply it to all of the objects. And also for the interactables, you could use another layer. Actually, we don't need left and right hand, just hands. Again, left and right controller, set it to hands. Change it to the children's. And for the interactables, actually, I'm just going to select all of them. And select interactables. And at the project settings, in the physics settings, you might see just this, but just open up this layer collision matrix. And you need to disable the collisions between interactables and the player. So the player should not interact with the interactables. This way, even if you move your interactable into your collider, it just won't throw you off and make all kinds of weird physics stuff. Okay, so that's the fix for that. Now move to attach transforms. So as you could see on the grenades here, when I grabbed it, it just snapped into a weird position. But we actually can set up something called attach transforms. So it's going to be a predetermined position. And all we need is, again, XR grab interactable. Rigid body, again, mesh collider and convex. Drag the mesh collider to the colliders and interaction layer mask to grabbable. And this is an interactable already. Right now, I'm just going to use it instantaneous. And what we need to do is create a empty game object and call it attach transform. Okay, and drag this attach transform to the attach transform. Okay, and if you start the game, here we are, and if I grab it, it snaps into that attached position. Okay, but how can we determine this position? Well, I could move this attached transform to a different position until it's in the right position, but there's a much easier way. If I just enable the dynamic attach. Okay, let's talk about the dynamic attach. So what it does is I can grab this object anywhere I want. So the way to do it is just put it into the position you want. And if you check out the hierarchy, the gun pistol has a left-hand controller dynamic attach transform. So if we copy this transform and we paste it to the attach transform outside play mode, so it's important. So yeah, attach transform and paste this as a component value and save it and pressing play. I get here and right now it's in that position. Awesome. But if you select it with your other hand, so the right hand, it's just slightly off. So for that, the solution, we need to make an inherited class of this XR grab interactable and modify it to our needs. So how to do that? In the assets folder, there's a script folder, and I'm going to create a new script, and I'm going to call it exactly like that. So XR grab interactable fixed. Okay. And I'm going to inherit from XR grab interactable. And I'm just going to need the XR Interaction Toolkit interactable namespace. Okay, we can delete the start and update function. And here we will need to use two transform, one for the right-hand attach transform and left-hand attach transform. Oh, actually, this is an amazing example for why we need to set the handedness and why is it really good we have handedness in the XR Interaction Toolkit 3.0. Okay, so We also need the XR Interaction Toolkit namespace. Actually, the issue with onSelect entered is it's a strange bug. When you grab your items first, if we go to the original attach transform, which I have no idea why, but on the second grab, it's going to snap to the right attach transform. So for the fix for that, we have another function called onSelect entering, and that's going to solve all of our problems. It's going to snap to the right position at the right time, no just second input. So this is the fix for that. Okay, and at the interactor object, we are not going to use this transform.name. Also, instead, we can use handedness. So this is just a enum, I think. Let me see. Yeah, it's just a public enum interactor handedness, none left or right. So in this case, this is going to be the left hand. So the left, I think I just need the interactors namespace as well. Okay, and right. The same goes for the right hand. That should be it. Okay, and going back to the attach transform, we need to get rid of this XR grab interactable and add this XR grab interactable fixed. Okay, unfortunately, we need to redo the previous one. So grabbable layer, mesh collider to the colliders, instantaneous and everything, and attach transform. Okay, I'm going to duplicate it, and this is going to be the left attach transform, and this is going to be the right attach transform, and I'm going to drag the right one to the right hand attach transform and the left one to the left hand attach transform. So what we actually do is we are going to set this attach transform based on if it's the left hand or right hand. So that's all we do. Okay, so right now the left hand attach transform should be fine, and we need to find the right hand attach transform. We are going to use the same method as before, so just use dynamic attach and we are going to get the transform. Okay, so just let's go through the code. So we have the left hand attach transform and the right hand attach transform, and then from the XR interactable we are going to override the onSelect entering, and when the interactor object's handedness is left, then we are going to set the attach transform to the left hand attach transform. If it's not the left, so it's the right, then the attach transform is going to be the right hand attach transform. And this based on onSelect entering, what it does is just continuing this onSelect entering on the base class. So if I go here, it's just going to run these codes after it done this one before. Right, so that's it. If we go back to Unity, and we need to add the XR grab interactable fixed this time, and I've created a left-hand attach transform and a right-hand attach transform, so I just need to assign it here. So the left-hand attach transform to the left-hand attach transform and the right-hand attach transform to the right-hand attach transform. Okay, again, instantaneous, and set the collider to this one, just once. And if we press play, it will work with the left-hand attach transform, but it won't work with the right-hand attach transform because right now I just duplicated it. So to set the right-hand attach transform, we need to use again this dynamic attach, get the transform in play mode, and then just assign it. So what I'm going to do now is just select this pistol, just roughly set it to the right position like that. And then can head to the hierarchy here, right-hand dynamic attach, right-click, copy component, exit play mode, and then right-hand attach transform, and transform, right-click, paste, and component values. And also don't forget to turn off the dynamic attach. Go back to play mode, and now if we grab the pistol, the right hand, it's in the right position, and with the left hand, it's also in the right position. Okay, so that's the attach transforms. The last thing I want to show you is the two-handed interaction. So again, XR grab interactable, rigid body, create a mesh collider, and drag it to the colliders. Interaction layer mesh is grabbable, instantaneous. And what you need to set is the select mode from single to multiple. So it will use a primary and a secondary attach transform. In this case, we need to set it. So just I'm going to create two empty game objects. Is going to be a primary attach transform, and this is going to be the secondary attach transform. Okay, the primary goes to the primary, just the simple attach transform, and the secondary is going to go to the secondary attach transform. I'm just going to move the primary somewhere here, the secondary here, and press play. Okay, if I grab it, yeah, it's strangely positioned, but we've fixed that in a second. And if I grab it with my other hand, now I can use it as a secondary attach transform. And actually the same goes for this one. So if we set the rifle to dynamic attach and we try to grab it at the right position, so this is going to be my right hand attach transform. So I'm just going to copy it, component, again, exit play mode, primary attach transform, paste by right, and paste the component values. And for the secondary, we go back. So yeah, this is going to be my secondary attach transform. So dynamic attach, again, copy component. And as a secondary attach transform, just pasting the component values. And at the gun rifle, just don't forget to turn off dynamic attach. And now if we go to play mode, so yeah, that's my primary and secondary, and it works as it should be. Awesome. In the last episode, we created all these interactables. And for example, we can hold this gun, but we are not able to shoot anything with it yet. So that's what we are going to set up in this episode. And also, I'm just going to show the UI interaction as well, because that's basically the 30-second setup. Okay, let's get into it. So if we select the pistol and head over to the XR grab interactable fixed, you can see these interactable events, and we can do basically whatever we want on these events. What we're going to use is the activate. So when we are activating with the trigger, then it's going to shoot out a bullet. So actually it's pretty simple. We just need to create a new script. I'm just going to call it simply gun. And all we need here is an XR grab interactable. And on awake, we're just going to get the component automatically, so we don't need to assign it. And also on start, we will subscribe to the unactivated event. So we're going to add this add listener, this shoot function, and don't forget to unsubscribe from this event, otherwise you get some memory leaks and stuff. So yep, I'm just gonna generate the shoot with the activate event args. And basically with the debug stuff, it should already work in. All we need to do is just assign it to the gun prefab. So we just add it. We don't need to assign anything because we do that on awake. And yeah, press play and let's see the console. Okay, I just come over here, grab it, and press the activate button. And the console should says bang. Yep. And I try it with, okay, and I try it with my left hand as well. And it also should says bang. Yep. Yeah, works fine. Okay, and now we just need to replace this bang log with instantiating bullets and adding some velocity to it and etc. So let's do that. So we will need another script called projectile, and we are gonna need to make a projectile. So I'm just gonna create a, let's say, sphere, small sphere. Give it 0.02303. Should be fine. I'm gonna create a material for it called bullets. Make this one red and assign to it. And I'm just gonna grab it and just pull it to the sorry, I just gonna rename it to bullet and create a prefab of it. So we can delete it now. And for this one, I just add the projectile script. Okay, so on the gun, we are gonna need a new game object called spawn point. And all we need to do is set it to local space. And we just need to rotate it so the Z's gonna be the forward direction. So 90. And I just drag it somewhere here. So this is going to be the place where the bullet's going to be instantiated. Okay, and for that, actually, we will need a reference, so a transform, and this is going to be the spawn point. And also we're going to need a projectile prefab. So we need to tell what it needs to instantiate and where. So the spawn point is going to be the where, and the what is going to be the bullet. Okay, so in the shoot function, we need to tell the script to instantiate the projectiles prefab at the spawn point at position and rotation. Okay, so let's go to the bullets and just set the scale to 0.03. Okay, and press play. Okay, now if I press the activate button, yep, just spawning them in. Okay, so this is the script we're going to use. So we have a required component, rigid body. This is for if we don't have the rigid body component on the object, then it's automatically going to add it to it. Then we need a speed variable and the rigid body on the object. So on awake, we get the rigid body. And on update, we are just adding a velocity to the object on the transform.forward. So if it's going to be instantiated, it's going to move on the z-axis forward with the speed. And we need to multiply it by time.data time. Otherwise, it's going to be different on every device. And on collision enter, if it collides with anything, it's just going to destroy itself. Okay, now press play. And let's see if it works. Yeah, it works, just it's really slow. So what we can do is on the bullet, we don't need to use gravity. And I'm just gonna need to increase it. Yeah, 500 seems fine. And if it reaches yeah, it's still too slow, but you get the idea. You can increase it to 1000, 2000, whatever. And whenever it reaches the wall or floor, it just getting destroyed. Okay, so that's it for the activation. It's relatively simple and you can add much more stuff for these events. Okay, moving on to the UI. I set up here a really basic UI. As you can see, it's one of the most basic one, just a button, a input field, and a drop down. So I just set up a really basic UI here, a button, a drop down, and an input field with another button. Really simple. Okay, so what we need is an event system. So if you go to UI and event system, instead of this input system UI input module, we need to add the XR UI input module. And I just removed this component. And again, at the presets, we just need to select this preset already made. Okay, and at the canvas level, you need this track the device graphic raycaster component, but it only needs to be put on the canvas. And the other thing is needs to be word space. And if you accidentally have multiple XR origins, one of them disabled for testing purposes, whatever, it's really important to add the camera component to this UI, otherwise it's not going to work properly, or there is a chance it won't work properly. So I just add the main camera and whatever happens, it's going to work. So just delete that other XR origin. One more component we need to add is the near-far interactor. I'm just going to grab and drop it to the right-hand controller. And here, for us, we don't need new casting, so I'm just going to disable that. Enable UI interaction. The input configuration, just leave it as it is. And for the interaction layer mask, just select the UI, everything else should be fine. Yeah, and we can do the same with the left near far interactor, and we will have both hands with this interactor. So disabling the near casting, and yeah, that's it actually. Now we can press play, and if we go near the UI, we can press the button, open these, select the options, enter text. Right now I just working with the keyboard and enter. And yeah, that is the UI part. Okay, so that's it for the basics video. And as you can see, there are many other stuff that needs to be done. For example, dynamic socket interaction, linear and rotational interaction, like opening a door or a chest or a drawer. And also we got poke interactions and loads of other stuff that I want to show you. And those are going to be individual videos. And if you're interested, then hit the subscribe and like button. And yeah, I see you in those videos.